Sean, who was a it's not congressional
Medal of
Medal of
Honor.
Honor. I hate it when people say congressional. It's not congressional. It's just a Medal of Honor winner. Who was most influential for you in your understanding what it means to serve, what it means to have manly virtues? Was it your grandfather, your dad? Was it a coach in school?
It was always my dad. I mean, he taught me the value of a handshake, of your word, of getting it done right the first time. Um, it was always um, he was one of those guys that always had a lesson to teach you. And doing it right the first time. Measure twice, cut once. But the thing that was always interesting about him is, he always had time for other people. And later in life, that's what I would hear the most is, at this one point, blah, 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 blah. But your dad came out and helped me one day when I knew that he didn't have the time either, and blah, blah, blah. And, we didn't have a lot of money, but I'll tell you, I've come to realize that the word rich depends on what you value.
Mm-hmm.
And if you value money, then no, I wasn't rich. If you value somebody who's going to sit down at dinner every night and talk to you about your day and instill lessons, then I was very rich.
And give me some other adjectives when you think about the values that you saw and you said, I want to be like that. What kind of adjectives described your father?
I think integrity, hard work, commitment. Like I said, he was one of those guys that when you started a project, he'd say, okay, we're going to finish it. And you didn't get to just welch out because you were like, I'm tired or it's been a while. And there was everything from raking the leaves to washing the car. I'd come out once in a while and he'd look at me and say, some spots there. And I'd say, yep. And he'd go, all right, we're doing it again.
Wow.
And his point to me was, you either do it right the first time or you're going to do it again. And it's a lot quicker to just do it right the first time. And he was also a person that was strong on commitment. If you said to somebody that you were going to do something on a Saturday or, whatever it was, he'd say, all right, you made a commitment, you're going, and the value
So a hard taskmaster?
No, it wasn't but it was more like there was nothing that I did that I couldn't do, right? It wasn't like, hey, rake the leaves with one hand tied behind your back. But he gave you tasks. He expected you to complete them and complete them well. He believed in the value of a dollar. If I wanted money, I had to earn it. And that wasn't usually through allowances. It was, hey, if you want this, okay, go wash other people's cars. Go rake their leaves. I sold greeting cards. I sold birthday cakes. I bought this mechanism and fixed skis or the bottom skis and waxed them and everything. I mean, my dad's view was, there's a value to a dollar and you've got to learn it. You've got to understand it. I mean, I paid for my gas and my insurance as a kid in the car. His view was, you want to drive, there's some responsibility that comes with that.
And do you think that America, that value system still exists despite all the assaults on what they call toxic masculinity?
I think it exists. It doesn't exist as prevalent. And the lack of father figures in particular. But I had this discussion, Seb, with somebody in the last couple of days where my kids don't have a phone yet and they're not on social media. And at some point soon they will, because we recognize that there's a safety aspect to this. But I'll be talking to parents and they'll say to me, oh my God, I can't believe the phone and my kid, he can't let it down, and the stuff that he's seeing on social media. And I'm like, you do know that you're part of this equation. It's your phone. You've allowed them to do this. And they bemoan it as if they didn't have a choice. And they're like, oh my God, I wish we had done that.
Right.
And I'm like, you can still do it. That too many parents, I don't know what it is these days, forget that they're still part of the equation, that they're driving the train, and that they're responsible. I hate to say this because it's for some of the problems. Yeah. I mean, the kids now, I get in the car when I do like carpool or whatever, and I'll say like, all right, no phones, everything's down. Like we're going to talk to each other. And I feel like the lessons of interaction and having a conversation and looking somebody in the eye are starting to dissipate. And that's concerning to me as a society where things go. And then I watch videos on social media. There was one the other day with these kids, and the parents are standing behind them, and I assume they're prop guns, but these kids are running around with guns, and I'm thinking to myself, what are you teaching them? Like, I want to teach my kid to be a responsible gun owner. We've taken him to the range. He's been certified by the NRA. But I want them to understand the value and the responsibility that goes along with certain things. Not that things are toys and that life is devalued, that there's, and so anyway, I think that the lessons that I think a lot of us were taught a generation ago are starting to slide.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you what those lessons are that we need to inculcate into the next generation. That'll be one of our closing questions here on the Manhood Hour with Sean Spicer. Follow him on Twitter at Sean Spicer. The website is Sean Spicer, and his new show is available on all the usual platforms.
Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost